for your phone, it's child social services. It's not a police matter. Unless we come into a property, see that that child's needs aren't met, i.e. food, neglect, etc., then we would remove them under a police protection order. I don't know the ins and outs of why social services removed the baby when Jess gave birth, okay?
I'm recording you.
That's fine, I know you are. You always do, okay? In relation to the offence that you were charged and you pleaded guilty to, what have you done to try and obviously get a better understanding of what happened with Emily? In your way, in your mind?
A better understanding of
because
what happened. She led me on, came on to me, snogged my face off, grinded on me, and then we had penetration and I left. She phoned me 2 days later to meet her again, but I had to go and do some washing up in a kitchen because I had a job washing up in a kitchen.
So is there any remorse there?
There's lots of remorse, Nikki. That's why I told the truth in my first interview when they told me she was 12 years old. I didn't know that when this happened, which is why I told the truth, because I knew I had done wrong in the eyes of the law.
Exactly. Maybe. I've got a friend who's awake.
Yeah, I went and fed one of them this morning. He wasn't very happy.
This one's chocolate.
7 o'clock this morning.
Counselling wise, support for obviously the past 20 years?
I don't get any support off of anybody.
Would you?
I get bullied and targeted and picked on and called names.
Who by?
Everybody.
Within the area?
Never mind that I was an 18-year-old lad at the time. I was still a teenager.
I know, but you're over the age of 18. That's the law.
Yeah, but how many times have my head been stamped on and punched and beaten and battered?
What, by your dad?
Yes, by my dad.
Yeah, well, we can do something about that. If
what
you
can...
want to make a complaint of historic...
Oh, what, so you can lock him up
assault,
so he can get raped in the bum again?
Well, no, we're doing it for you. If you're saying
that'll
that
really make me feel better, won't it?
Well, listen to me, because the thing is, I try and explain something to you, and you don't let me finish.
Because none of you like me.
I haven't got a problem with you, Damien. You've got it in your head that I don't like you. I've been here, and I haven't got a problem with you.
I know when I'm not liked.
I think you're a decent guy. However, you've got it in your head I don't like you.
I know when I'm not liked.
Okay? If you're saying to me that your dad, which you have in the past, has historically DV assaulted you, I'm quite happy to make and log that for you. He would then have to come in on a VA. Because it's historic.
A VI. Can you please
voluntary
at least...
attendance.
Interview.
No, voluntary attendance it's
interview.
called.
It's called a voluntary interview. I'm not going to argue.
On that, then interview him. We'd get a statement off you for all the assaults and what he's done, which is not a problem. You just have to tell me and I'll get that sorted. I will create the crime. I will get the details off you and I will sort that out for you. You've just got to say, yes, Nick, I want to do that.
What about how they left in the middle of a funeral because apparently Jess's biological mother gave him a dirty look?
Who left?
My so-called family.
Well, then you'd have to have that out.
Halfway through a family. This is why I'm not in the mood.
I know, but
it's nothing personal, Nikki, yeah? I am not in a nice place right now.
So you mean if I don't get it done within the 23rd, then you could be fault, all right? So, because that's the date.
They've just done an assessment and deemed me a risk and took our child.
There's nothing on our system. I don't know you say who they is. The last one that
it
was
all
done
comes from
was
the police in the first place.
All right? That might have been a different risk assessment. This is your arms. This is the one that's done yearly, okay? Every year. So then the 20 up to 23rd next year, I'll be out again. It's got to be done every year to see if anything's changed.
So how did they manage to do an assessment on me 4 weeks before she went into labour?
That might have been a different assessment. I don't know without looking at it and getting the details of it.
But we're still sat here without our child.
Yes, I know.
And without her PIP. So we get back from a funeral to nothing, and we've now starved for 6 days because we have no food.
Right, listen to me, all right? And let me know.
A Care Act assessment is nothing to do with the DWP.
She had...
Jessica.
Okay, Jessica had a Care Act.
Which is nothing...
2023, listen to me please, then you'll get the facts. In 2023,
your facts aren't the same as my facts.
When she was under the age of 18. Since then, we've established she's moved in with you, all right? Would you agree? So since 2023 to 2025, Jessica's circumstances has changed dramatically, okay? that, she's now over the age of 18, and because of her disabilities, the learning difficulties she's got.
That no one seems to care about.
Right, let me finish for you. Right, okay, I've got all the paperwork. All right? So she's in the lowest 1% of understanding basic things. Hence, you're caring for her. So with that Care Act assessment, Jess would have been assessed by an adult social worker, not me, because I'm a cop, right? And you would have had a Carers Act assessment as well. That would have then established, as your circumstances changed, does your money need to go up? Are you entitled to more money? Or does Jessica's money need to be reduced? I offered to collect you twice to take you.
We didn't ask for a Care Act assessment. A Care Act assessment is nothing to do with the DWP.
Right. Social Services did.
If the DWP want an assessment,
yes,
then they have to write to her and ask for an assessment.
We can't get hold of her. Every time that they try and say, and email me, and email Adult Social Services. First time she was poorly, granted, I've evidenced that on my body one to prove to them, Social Services, that she was unwell. The second time there was no answer, Damien. I'm willing to take it. Then we can get that sent off.
She's already told social she wants nothing to do with him. When she needed an adult social worker in May, was one provided?
No.
No, but the minute they snatch and murder our daughter, they want to assign her an adult social worker to think that they can rule the roost. Right?
I think I'm done here. I'll put that down as to what I can get out of it, and I'll look at your...
None of you obviously care about the abuse that me and Jess have occurred through our childhoods.
What have I just said to you about your abuse?
What, that you'll pull him in for a voluntary interview?
Yes, of course I will.
And that's going to make me feel better.
Well, then we're getting the information off you. You're giving us a statement.
Something should have been done when I was a teenager.
I agree.
When I was bounced all round my living room, fucking and beaten up my staircase. You realise that I've crawled myself up my staircase in my home, my family home, not being able to breathe with broken ribs.
I agree. 100% I agree.
But at 18, I just get locked up, and now 20 years later, people are calling me a paedophile.
You didn't get locked up.
How?
You didn't just get locked up.
How is a teenage sexual offence putting me in the category of a paedophile, Nikki?
Because in the eyes of the law...
No, Nikki, no. We both know very well what a paedophile is.
That might be your term, right? But in the eyes of the law, you have had sex with a child.
Penetration, but I didn't know. I didn't know how old Emily was at the time, did I?
That's what you're saying.
And I told them that in the interview. But now my life is completely destroyed and ruined, and I've got absolutely nothing. All I've got is me and Jess, and we're literally going through the death of our child, and no one seems to care.
Right. Well, I disagree with that because...
I don't.
That's entirely up to you, and you're entitled to your opinion. I have offered you support, I've offered you counselling.
Professionals to profit off of my name?
That's up to you.
While
I
I
offered you that
don't actually get the help that I need.
Want to. I've also offered to help you with the burial of Kylie, which you dismissed and ignored, okay? So, because I was emailing both of you and saying, look, do you want any help from me?
Because I want my daughter alive in my arms.
And that's not unfortunately going to happen.
We didn't deserve what just happened to us.
Not at all. But unfortunately, some children get meningitis.
Yeah, I'm sure they do if they get whacked around the head.
And I've got no evidence on that. And what's your evidence with that? And
no comment.
We're not under caution, Damien. Stop being silly.
How am I being silly?
If you're saying she was whacked round the head, you need to provide the evidence and make an official complaint.
Was I there to document and safeguard my child?
So how do you know it's happened?
Because I know, because I've done my research, because I do my reading, because I care and I love my daughter and I wanted to get to the bottom of it.
Where have you done your research?
When I asked for all the medical notes.
Okay, and did you get them?
Yes.
Okay, and
did I sit there and spend all night reading through them?
And did Jess tell you that there's an issue with a pregnancy, and obviously she was struggling with that?
It was nothing to do with her pregnancy.
So then they'll have to use forceps, and is that bruise from the forceps?
She was born happy, healthy and fine.
And do you know about meningitis?
Of course I know about meningitis and how it's contracted. It can be contracted a few different ways.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it can be contracted via a hit to the head too.
They told me that she was born healthy and positive.
There was-
Yes, she can be, Jess.
There was nothing
But
wrong
you
with
can
her when she was
contract
born.
meningitis
And then she
in
was
the
taken into
environment.
social services care, and then miraculously, 12 days later, she's in critical condition in hospital.
Make a complaint to
I met
social
my
services,
daughter for the
alright?
first time on a fucking ventilator, Nikki.
I know, and I will never ever be able to understand what that feels like as a mum. And I can only sympathise with you. And I think personally, you need some counselling for it, Damien, because it's a massive loss.
I don't want a professional profiting off
Well,
of
then how are you going to get
If
help
I'm
and
sat
get
if
over
I'm
it?
sat here poor because I made a mistake when I was 18 and had the balls to put my hands up and do the time,
Yeah.
and I'm now sat here poor and suffering and struggling, why should I let someone come along and profit off of my name? You lot make money
Help.
off of my name
We're
when
not.
I'm sat here in poverty, piss poor, struggling, and I'm the one who's been abused. I'm the one with a deviate
Okay,
septum. She's
so-
the one with a missing septum.
So, I can help with that for your recording. I can take you to your Care Act assessment so you can be assessed and talk about what you do for Jessica that may allow you to be entitled to talk to more money. Jessica will have her assessment by a
I
adult social
already
worker.
told you I had sorted out all of our benefits.
The government are changing
now-
things, right? Because
Oh,
unfortunately...
the government.
Yeah,
The government.
yeah, the government are changing things. DWP have got to evidence that when you are an enhanced payment, you suit and fit that category. An assessment's not been done since 2023. She no longer lives in Exeter. She lives
That's
here with
incorrect.
you. Right, okay.
Sarah
Well,
Robertson
listen, we
did an
will be
assessment
here all day.
on her
Yes,
in January in this property, in this very property.
not for the Care Act assessment.
It was a Care Act assessment.
Damien,
I
it's-
sat in my bedroom.
Ring Nom Koshi then, who's the adult social worker. Ring her.
Was
She
Nom Koshi
had-
her social worker at the
But
time?
it's on file. It's on their systems.
And that makes it what?
ran out in
100%
2023.
accurate, does it?
You would have to have that out with them.
Because everything's
Okay?
so honest
All
on the
they
system,
emailed
isn't
me
it?
Is that Jessica needs a Care Act assessment. I've volunteered to take you. I've offered
My
to take you
age
both.
alone makes me low risk.
Well, if you work with professionals, including me, then I can
I
do the
have worked with
assessment.
professionals.
Damien, not the last.
And what do I
not the
get?
last
I get my door taken off
January,
twice.
February. You've totally ignored me. You blocked me. And you will only speak to me via email, and when you do speak to me, you send me nothing but abuse.
Abuse.
Okay? Yes, you do.
Abuse. You
Yeah.
call that abuse?
Yes.
Me stating my own personal opinion with what I've been
Uh,
through is abuse.
Calling me several names.
What names have I called you?
Cunt.
I haven't called you a
You've
cunt.
called me paedophile. You've called me.
I haven't called you a cunt or a paedophile.
All right.
So now you're going to start... Nikki, do not lie
listen,
about
I'm
me.
not lying. I've got the
Show me
emails
some
from you.
evidence that I called you a
I'll
paedophile,
send
mate.
them back to you today, and then you can put them on your recording. All right. When I get back to the station, I'll reply back to you.
Right,
Alright.
so I've called you a paedophile, have
Yeah.
I?
And you've called me evil. And you said
Evil,
that-
I've said,
and
yeah.
then the Mufti Squad. You've called me evil.
Yeah, I said
You've-
Jess is afraid of your little mufti squad, which she is. She is petrified of you lot. Because 4 of them
Doesn't look
picked her up
petrified whilst I'm here.
at 3 months pregnant and carried her out of this
She
property.
doesn't look petrified whilst I'm here.
Does she not?
No.
So she hasn't just grabbed her iPad and just gone off
Which
into
is
her
what
own
she
little...
would do, because obviously her learning disabilities and her age that she's functioning at, she's not functioning as what a 19-year-old would.
Why is that?
Because of the learning disabilities.
Because she hasn't been looked after properly. Because
Right,
no one
okay.
has helped her with her
I'll write
development.
this up,
Nikki, I may
and
have
then I'll
said
be in touch,
evil,
right?
but I have never called you a paedophile, and I've
I'll
never called
send
you a
you an
cunt.
email,
I've sent
alright?
emails to social services calling them murdering cunts, yeah.
I'll send it back to you, and then it's got the date and the time, all right? And I'll be in touch. Thank you very much. Let me know if you want to put in the historic assessment with your dad.